A very good morning, dear children. Today we are going to start with the first chapter of Science 2 or Biology, that is Heredity and Evolution. Now, the chapter name itself gives us an idea that the entire chapter has been divided into two parts, where the first part deals with heredity and the second part deals with evolution. So, today we are going to start with the basics of the first part, that is heredity. So how are we going to go about this? First of all, we are going to do a quick revision of what we have already learned in standard ninth, that is DNA, gene and genetics. And then we will learn replication, transcription and translation. So today we will be dealing with revision and replication, and in the next class we will be doing transcription and translation. Okay, so let's start. We know that there are cells in the body, okay, and every cell has various organelles like mitochondria, lysosome, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosome, peroxisome, nucleus, Golgi complex, etc. From all these organelles, the organ which plays very important role in the process of heredity is the nucleus. So we are going to concentrate on the nucleus now. The nucleus consists of chromosomes, and we have already learned that there are 46 chromosomes in the humans. Out of this 46, there are 44 which are autosomes, okay, and 2 are sex chromosomes, or to be even more specific, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes in humans, from which 22 pairs are autosomes and 1 pair is a sex chromosome. That one pair XX will be for female and XY is for male. What are these chromosomes but? Chromosomes are nothing but they are the condensed form of DNA. And we know DNA consists of carbon, phosphate and nitrogenous base. So it is made up of carbon, phosphate and nitrogenous base. We have learned that nitrogenous bases are of two types, that are purines and pyrimidines. Pyrimidines have single ring structure, purines have double ring structure. We know how they are divided further also. Purines are adenine and guanine, and pyrimidines are cytosine, thymine and uracil. Why do we have three pyrimidines? Because in DNA it has thymine and cytosine. In RNA it has cytosine and uracil. RNA does not have thymine. Okay. Now, while pairing, we know that a purine always pairs with a pyrimidine. So adenine always pairs with thymine, guanine always pairs with cytosine, or guanine always pairs with uracil when we are considering about an RNA. Okay, when these nucleotides, as they are commonly called, when they pair, if their pairing forms a segment in the DNA that codes for a protein, that forms a gene. As you can see here, few nucleotides, approximately 8 nucleotides, have formed a segment on the DNA, and they're coding for a protein, or they're coding, or they have a message. Such a segment will be called as a gene. Okay, now let's see how it looks on the DNA. How is this segment arranged on the DNA? This is how it is arranged. This is a DNA molecule in which, if you look at the central part where base pairs are written, that forms the gene, or that forms a segment on the DNA. These nucleotides, as you can see in the picture, it is A, T, G, C, T, A, T, C, G, G, C. These are the nucleotides. These nucleotides are connected to the carbon and the phosphate, as you had seen in the previous one. So this is how the entire DNA is being arranged. You have the sugar, you have the phosphate, and wherever you see the nitrogenous base, that is the place that is being taken by the ATGC, or the purines and the pyrimidines. Okay, so you have the nucleotides, where when I say nucleotides means what? They have the sugar, the phosphate as well as the base. That means it can be purines or pyrimidines. Okay. So this is what we have seen. We saw about the cell, and I told you from all the organelles, the nucleus is the one which takes active part in the process of heredity. We know that the nucleus has Chromosomes, a total of 46 of them. Chromosomes are nothing but condensed form of DNA, and the DNA are formed by number of segments which code or which have messages, and these segments are called genes. Okay, now the same thing we will look at it one by one. So we again start with the cell. The cell has nucleus in it. The nucleus has chromosome in it. Now, if you look at the chromosome, as I already told you, it is a condensed form of DNA. To understand it better, we can relate it to the bundle of thread. Okay, here the bundle is a chromosome and the single thread in it is the DNA. Similarly, if I try to look at the chromosome, it's nothing but it is a long strand of DNA. And what is DNA? It is nothing but it is the nucleotides which have come together to form messages or segments on the DNA. Okay. So this is how we looked at it. We looked from the cell towards the gene. Now we will look at the gene and go towards the cell. So this is a gene where I have nucleotides or I have purines and pyrimidines which have come together to form a segment on the gene, segment on the DNA that codes for a specific protein or which carries messages. Many such genes, when they come together, that form the long DNA molecule. The DNA, it condenses with the help of the histone protein. The circles which you see are histone proteins. So the long DNA, it is wound around many times with the help of histone protein to form a condensed structure like the chromosome. A total of 46 chromosomes are present in the nucleus, and the nucleus is an organelle in the cell. Okay, I hope this concept or this basic is clear. Okay, now we will learn about heredity. Heredity is a transfer of characteristic from one generation to another. What does that mean? It means that during reproduction, certain characters from the father and certain characters from the mother are transmitted to the child. That means characteristics are given from the parents to the offspring. This transfer is called as heredity. We know that during reproduction, the male gamete, that is a sperm, and the female gamete, that is the egg, they combine together to form the zygote. Okay, I told you that in humans, we have every cell has 46 chromosomes. However, when I'm talking about the sperm and the egg, the case is different. The sperm has 23 chromosomes and the egg has 23 chromosomes. Why is it so? The 23 of the sperm combines with the 23 of the egg, and together they form 46 chromosome in the zygote. This 46 gets transferred to every cell in the child's body. Okay, that is how every human has 46 chromosome, because the male has 23 and the female has 23. That is how the child shows a characteristic of both the father and the mother, because it has received 23 chromosome from the father and 23 from the mother. Okay, this study where you're learning about heredity and you're learning about gene is called genetics. There are three important processes in heredity. The processes are replication, transcription, and translation. Now, in your book, they have only described transcription and translation. However, learning transcription and translation would not be complete if you do not know replication. That is why, in short, we will learn about replication today. Okay, so let's start. As I already told you, the sperm combines with the egg to give rise to the zygote. If you look at the slide carefully, below sperm cell, they have written N is equal to 23. It indicates that the sperm and the egg both are haploid cells. What do you mean by haploid? Haploid means they have only single set of unpaired chromosome. Single set means from 46 they have got only 23. Okay, so that single set of the sperm and the single set of the egg combine together to form the double set or to form the complete set. that is diploid. That is why below the zygote they have written 2n to show that it is diploid, which means that it has got the complete set of chromosome, that is 46. Okay, now once the zygote has received this complete set of chromosome, as you can see here, the one that is circled is the zygote. Now this zygote, which has got the 46 chromosome, has to keep developing to form the complex form of the human. This complex form of the human has many cells in it, and every cell should have this 46 chromosome. That is why the 46 chromosome which the zygote has received has to be copied to every new cell that is formed in the child. Okay, this copying of the DNA is nothing but DNA replication. I hope this is clear. From a single cell, it has to move on to the complex state of multicellular. And that is why as new cells are formed, whatever DNA it has received has to be copied or has to be replicated to every new cell. This process is called DNA replication. You're going to be very familiar with this diagram. Okay, we know that we have learned in standard 9th that the double helical structure was given by Watson and Crick. This is the molecule of DNA. Okay, now before you all start, it is important to know DNA replication process has a lot of enzymes involved in this, but because this is not being mentioned in your chapter, in very simple terms I will explain what is the process. I am not going to be mentioning any enzymes in this. Okay, so whenever DNA replication starts, the first thing that happens is unwinding takes place. Unwinding means the double helical structure of the DNA, it gets converted into a very simple form like that of a ladder. Okay, so what has happened? The helical form has changed to form two parallel simple strands. Okay. Once the unwinding has taken place, what happens is the two strands, they separate from one another like this. Once they have got separated, what happens is that based on the nucleotides that are there on these strands, new nucleotides get added for pairing. Okay, now the tag like structure that you see in the center, the blue, red, blue, yellow, those colors that you see, they are actually indicating that they are nucleotides, or they are these purines and pyrimidines. Okay, and we know that they are very specific in their pairing. So if the strand has adenine, the new nucleotide which will come and add up to it is going to be thymine, because it's an AT pair. If the strand has guanine, then cytosine will come and add. Okay, so the two strands that are there on the screen, they are going to be used as templates or as reference so that the new strand can be made. Okay, so the new strand comes and binds to the initial or the original strand. Same thing happens to the second strand like this. Okay, and they pair together. So if you see here what has happened, from one DNA molecule we have got two DNA molecule. This is called DNA replication. Okay, and these new DNA molecules will be actually used up in the new cells which are being made. This process of copying the DNA is called DNA replication. Okay, I hope whatever was discussed today was clear. It is important that you know DNA replication at least in short, so that if this slide or if this part is clear that we have learned about cells, nucleus, chromosome, DNA, gene, DNA replication, if this is clear, transcription and translation will become easy. Okay, thank you.